Hi, everyone. It's Mathilde Taureau from Playtime. Thank you for coming and welcome to our webinar about how to build a marketing strategy in China. Today, we are really lucky to have two experts, Anaïs Bonneville from Gentleman Marketing Agency and Maud Luo, CEO of Yan Solo Kids in China and director of our show in Shanghai. Our two experts will do a great presentation, and at the end of this presentation you can ask all the questions you want, or you still can write it in the chat and they will answer you at the end. Have a great moment. Bye.
So thank you, Maud, and good to meet you, everyone. First, maybe just tell me if you will see my screen with the presentation.
On le voit, c'est bon.
Perfect. Everything's working then. So we wanted today to talk with you about all the marketing in China, because maybe for some of you, you already have a step into China, or maybe it's a long-term objectives. And having a distributor, having a distribution network is important, but your marketing is also very important. And we'll see why. So to do so, we will have 4 steps in this presentation. The first one will be all about insights. So basically, the last trends, the last news that happened in China that could be interesting for you. Then we'll talk about the branding. So actually how to build your brand in China. The 3 main keys that we will give you to start to understand how you can process in China, how you can build your brand, build your audience, and actually perform on the Chinese market. And then we'll have a case study on Balabala, who is the leader in the Chinese market. So obviously, you're not maybe at the stage in terms of brand size, and it's not a problem at all. The objective is just to give you the keys, the best practice for understanding like what could be the good example of brand performing in China. So first, let's start with the insights. Maybe we can start with this hot topic. I don't know if you heard about that, but there is a big news that has shaken the market recently. So I don't know if you can react in the chat, but maybe you heard about it. It happened on the 31st of May. It concerned the kids in China. So maybe you heard about it. In case you didn't, basically, it just the Chinese government decided to change the child policy, moving from the 2-child policy to the 3-child policy. I'm sure you heard about it before, but for a long time ago, 20th century, there was the 1-child policy to control the number of people in China because the market was growing too much. In 2015, they decided to move on to the 2-child policy because the population was enough, so they couldn't move on. But they saw that the aging population that was still a concern, because even by moving with the 2-child policy in 2015, as you can see, the number of children per family continue to decrease. And that was a huge problem for China and for the Chinese families, because the population reached a point where 20% of the population was aging more than 60 years old. And so in terms of dynamism and in terms of evolution of the market, the Chinese government decided to take this measure to maybe make population more increased in the next years. So the increase will not be likely to be seen as soon as we expect. Maybe by 2022 and 2023, we could see a slight improvement in the number of child per family. And maybe Maud, you want to jump on that? I think you have some insight to share on that.
Yeah, so yeah, since 2015, indeed, that the two-child policy was implemented for the society. But you can see the rise of the second child, or in general, the population didn't increase that much. And now the situation gets really bad because the population is indeed aging and shrinking. So, a very significant drop from 2019 to 2020 was that 2 million newborn was less than the year before. So this third child policy was implemented and announced, but right now, like Agnes said, well, the positive expectation is by 2023 that the kids will increase. But if for the designer kids wear, which means that the more educated or more wealthy families, people are expecting, still 1 to 2 child, but then they will spend much more than what they usually do.
Exactly. And also what could evolve is that currently at the moment we are speaking, the main segment of kids where that is the growing segment is kids aged between 5 to 9 years old. So basically, the moment we are talking, if you should focus on one age segment, it should be this one. But we in the future we will see a slight change since families can have more children, maybe we will have like a younger kids market from babies, etc. So we can see also a slight change here. And the thing is, it's not only about the kids, but also about the mom. Like as Maud says, it's all about the family as a whole. And as in any other country and in China, the person you have to target is not necessarily the kid in itself, but the mom. Because in the family, it will really be the mom who will make the decision in terms of purchase, in terms of clothes, in terms of decoration, in terms of products that are dedicated for her babies or her kids. And if you should only remember 3 things about this mom, especially for premium fashion, international brand, the key is definitely to understand that the Chinese mom that you want to target has an inclination to an elite lifestyle. What we mean by that is that she will not only purchase Chinese brand that she trusts, she also look into this international brand, having a different consumption, having a different lifestyle from her counterpart in China. And she has a tendency to invest more in her kids. Basically, she will be more educated with a higher income and more likely to invest in their kid. Like there was this kind of trend called All for My Kid, which was basically this Chinese mom who wanted the best for the kids, and they were likely to invest in international brand, different products, more expensive one, just to show that they have the financial meaning to take care of their kids. And another thing that is very important is the word of mouth, because they will not purchase an international brand just because it's an international brand. What they will rely on the most is the word of mouth. So recommendation from their friends, from their family, from the digital ecosystem. They spend a lot of time on blogs, forums to read a lot about products that could be recommended. And that's what will really motivate their purchase at the end of the day. That's why I wanted to share also more insight with you about the growth in the fashion kids wear, the children's wear market, because the growth was exponential. And the moment we are talking, we are only half the way of where it's supposed to go. What I mean by that is that by 2027, the children's wear market is expected to double. So basically, the market is full of opportunity and is not mature enough. It's not still mature, so we will see kind of a lot of evolution on there. And I think, Mo, you want to add maybe something on that too?
Yes, so some statistic to share with everyone. Along the first quarter in the year 2021, the overall Chinese retail market has a growth of 33% that recently was revealed by the government. And a significant growth that comes from the physical stores. And just to share the experience from our own agency, that the last year, from August, year 2020, when we do the sales campaign for the designer kidswear brands, we have reached around 1 million euro for the spring summer 21 sales. But then in the January year 2021, that when we do the sales campaign for the fall winter 21, it was very amazing that we reached nearly 2 million euro in overall sales, which means in this very niche segment of the international kidswear, the market is indeed experience a very strong growth. And the reason why, first, like Anis shared, that parents are spending more and more on their only child. And then second is that since the pandemic, no one can actually travel. So everyone is, stuck here in China. But then the urge to find something different, something special exists. So we have received lots of inquiries telling us about that they are looking for new brand, new product, new design. So I believe that this is the market that is growing, and that is worth for the brands to discover the opportunity.
Exactly, more opportunities. And basically, there is something that we like to say, DMA, and we'll understand why with this word, is that in China, like, nothing is easy, but everything is possible. And what we mean by that is market is growing. It's not mature yet, so we still have a lot of opportunities and possibilities. But in the meantime, the entry ticket for China is very expensive. What we mean by that is we see it, higher earnings from Chinese families. They are likely to invest more and more in their kids. The market is booming. Currently, the year-on-year growth is at plus 40%, which is basically very impressive regarding, especially after the pandemic, and potentially the growing number of kids per family, which could be also a new opportunity. But in the meantime, the market is already full of brands, which could be also Chinese brands, so very local brands, and in the meantime, international brands. So you will face a tough competition that is 7 times more higher than the one you currently have on other markets in the world, which is a lot. And you have this expensive entry ticket because you have first to enter the Chinese market, make people discover you, hear about you, and especially also differentiate from the competition, which could be very tough. And in the meantime, you can say, okay, I have my own distribution network. Maybe I already have 1 or 2 distributors in China, which could be still a first good step for you to make your brand like some opportunity to be known and purchased in China. But in the meantime, you will see that in China, distributors, they have their own interests. they can contact you if they see their opportunity in your brand, they want to sell your product, but in the meantime, on your side, you have to work on your marketing in China. As a distributor in China is not a business angel. They want to make profit, they don't want to invest in your brand, they don't want to invest in your marketing. You have to do it on your own. And for that, you can lack some brand awareness, you can lack some expertise and not find yet the right partner in China. And it's very important to find the right partner to understand your international universe, the universe you have, the product you want to present, all the creativity you put behind each of your products. In the meantime, localize your campaign, localize your brand to suit the Chinese preferences and really meet the opportunities that are waiting for you. That's basically kind of situation you will face. And if you should only remember one slide, maybe it should be this one, that you will have opportunities, and in the meantime, you have to be prepared. Then you will ask me, how can I be prepared for that? In terms of marketing, what should I do? I heard about this, that, and I don't know where I should be going and heading. And that's totally what we will see today about branding. So how to market your brand in China. So basically build your brand in the Chinese market. And to do so, we will see three things. The first one will be all about localizing your brand, then all about instilling trust, which is very important in China, then all about finding your right audience. Okay, so for localizing your brand, if you want to start small and start smart, the thing is you need a Chinese website, doing some SEO campaign, and 1 or 2 social media. We will present you to them. We'll present them to you. You could be interested in it. Basically, for the Chinese website, it's important because even if you already build your international website in China, people cannot find you because they don't use Google, they use Baidu. And the majority of them, they read Chinese and they don't read English or anything. So if you want to reach a better targeted audience, you basically need to have a Chinese website that is hosted in Hong Kong, and that is the right keywords to have a good ranking on Baidu, the Chinese Google, which is very important if you want to have visibility. And in the meantime, you have to combine it with an SEO campaign, search engine optimization, depending on the right keywords you can find for Baidu, for your industry, for children's fashion. If you arrive in China and you're like, okay, I want to be first page for this fashion, let me tell you, it will be very complicated. A lot of brands are already very good ranking on this one, and you should better select what we call like longer lens keyword, like baby, clothes, coat, etc. So very specific keywords to find your niche and have a better ranking on it to have higher and stronger visibility. Then combine it with social media to really like advertise your brand and enter in contact with your potential audience and your potential clients. For the Chinese website, just a quick example of Bonpoint, famous brand for kids wear. Basically, that's the good example because, as you can see, they optimize their website for the mobile. And in China, if you should remember, one thing is that having a website is good. Having a responsive design website is very important because Chinese people, they spend 6 hours per day on their phone, on the internet. And so basically, if your website is very good for the laptop, it's not very pertinent because anyway, people will find and read about your website through their phone. You should better have a better responsive design for the mobile phone, and of course the right keyword. Then for the SEO campaign, as I told you, it's very important to select the right keywords. Here you have the example for kids fashion. Of course, a lot of brands are already well ranked on this. You can find some links for Tmall, so directly purchase through different stores. And the thing is, as you can see, you don't only need to focus on your website. What I mean by that is SEO optimization is for your website in terms of keywords, but also in terms of pictures. So a lot of brands sometimes tend to forget about this opportunity that if some of your pictures are well optimized for Baidu, you can reach first page thanks to them. So a lot of opportunities are lying. You just have to understand the ecosystem of Baidu, the algorithm, how it works, and how you can reach better ranking. That's very important for you to have visibility. And then all the social media, especially for kids fashion and children's wear, the three main social media are WeChat, Weibo, and Xiaohongshu. WeChat, the reason it's the first social media in China, 1.2 billion people registered, basically like the whole China is in it. The reason is it's not only a social media, it's really an app where you can do everything. You can send messages to your friends, to your family. You can order your food. You can purchase a train ticket, a plane ticket, follow brands, send message to the brand, and etc. and purchase product directly through their store. So you have a lot of features, and basically it's key if you want to build a strong relationship and a more meaningful relationship with your community. But in the meantime, you have to understand that it's a very private social media. So the thing is, it's not like Instagram or Facebook when you can just pop in the feed of any user. If they want to engage with your brand, they have to search for your brand. So they already have to know your name, already have to know the name of your brand, search for you and follow you. That could be a little complicated at the beginning. And we will, maybe Maud will share more insight with you on that, which could be different for Weibo and Xiaohongshu. Weibo is like the Chinese Twitter, and Xiaohongshu is like the Chinese Instagram, Pinterest. So basically for Weibo, the good thing is that if you want to reach a wide audience, increase your visibility, and kind of generate much more like a buzz, it could be interesting because there is a lot of influencers on that, especially key opinion leaders. So if you are having an influencers campaign, Weibo is the key. And also it's like considered to be like a micro blogging. So you have a lot of bloggers. So it could be useful for you to have articles talking about from bloggers, post also articles, etc. And for Xiaohongshu, the good thing is it's definitely made for fashion, for cosmetics, and for mother and children products. There is a lot of people going on Xiaohongshu to find recommendations, to find shopping notes, to read about brands that they can actually purchase. And that's what's happening a lot. Basically, if you should remember only one number, on Xiaohongshu, 88% of the people, of the users are women. So basically, it's your main targets, moms that are mainly women that are mainly moms and that are looking for product recommendation. Maybe Maud, you want to share like some more insight on these different three social media?
Yes, so I would like to share some experience that we have to operate for Playtime and for ourselves and for the brands that we work with across these three platforms. So first, so Playtime Shanghai has accounts on all these three platforms. And our understanding of a WeChat or our official WeChat website. So nowadays we are about 2,000 followers, but very precisely B2B followers. I can say 80 to 90% of them more than 1,600. They are B2B professionals. And how we do that? So in the 2019, in our first edition of Playtime Shanghai physical show, so we implement a Wi-Fi system. So everyone who visited the show that has to, if they want to use the Wi-Fi, they need to follow the Playtime Shanghai official account. So you can see that our followers at that stage was very precise, and then steadily growing, with the word of mouth and reshare of the contents and articles. We are about 2,000 today. And still, even today, when we start the show pre-registration, everything is done on Playtime Shanghai WeChat official account. So if you are a visitor, a professional visitor, you want to enter, you want to have the ticket to visit the show, you need to follow us. You need to down your pre-registration through the WeChat. So you can see this data are really precise, and it's the only channel that we are communicating in a long term with the B2B buyers. Weibo, like Agnes just say, it's more or less like a Twitter mini blog. So we post the pictures of the brands who participate the show. We post the pictures of the influencers who are who came to the show. And then we also, from time to time, we like the Digital Wild Days, we will repost the content from the Playtime Instagram or the Playtime magazine to the Weibo. And so the followers of Playtime Shanghai on Weibo is about 20,000 followers today. So it's a mix of B2B followers and at the same time, the B2C, like the final customers. So a lot of moms, they are reading our Weibo as a kind of magazine, like their window to learn and to know the new brands from the world. And finally, 小红书. So it's really like the Instagram. So any brands can operate their own 小红书, even you don't speak perfectly the Chinese, but it's very visual, picture based of communication. So we have seen some international brands, they just post one or two pictures like what they do in their Instagram, but the target audience are very precise. Usually they are from the first and the second tier of the city within China, and the return of investment for the brands are really high because it's really precise. Like Agnes just stated, they are women who are interested in fashion, in kids, in the nice restaurant, dining out, home decor, this kind of premium lifestyle. So if you want to do something and you have a limited budget, I would say 小红书 is definitely the first stop for you to try, and also for you to see whether your product and design really interested the market, to see whether you really have a opportunity in China. And then if you don't have enough budget, to invest on all these three platforms for your dedicated account. So there is a kind of a marketing package that we offer to no matter the marketplace partners or the exhibitors in our show, that we can communicate through the Playtime account and to communicate your presence and help you to distribute the latest images through the playground. Yes.
Yes, very interesting, and totally like in line in the fact that when you have the capacity to be on the 3 social media, that could be interesting for you to also have like a differentiated strategy for each platform. For WeChat, you can cultivate this very like meaningful connection with your audience. On Weibo, you can focus more on influencers campaign visibility. And on Xiaohongshu, you can have this connection with moms. Like what is very important is the professional generated content, but also UGC, user generated content. So what people will post about your brand. And I totally in line with Mode on the fact that if you have a big budget, let's go ahead with all the social media. If you don't have enough budget, if you want a cost-effective option with a positive return on investment, then the recommendation is definitely to start with Xiaohongshu. If I can just focus more on this one, just to give you more insight. Basically, that's the result for 2020. Okay, so you can see the number of interactions per month. That could be interesting for 2 things. First, to see that there are some peaks, okay, during the year. That was in 2020. So we saw that basically after the pandemic, moms were more and more on Xiaohongshu. They were interacting a lot. And for the full year, the interaction in the maternal and child industry reached 184 million of interaction, which is basically a lot. There was a peak in August. And so that's basically, if we talk in a monthly split, you have on average 150,000 interaction per month. So that's basically if you want to engage the conversation with your audience, if you want to be part of this question, answers, etc., recommendation, you definitely have to set up an official account that we could help you with, to post pictures, to interact with your audience. And another question that comes back very often and that you could be interested in, many brands, they often ask us, okay, I want to share content on Xiaohongshu, but the thing is, only have my current pictures, my current campaigns. I don't have any visual with Chinese models. And to be honest, when you are starting, it's not a problem. Okay, so it's totally fine. You can totally go on Chinese social media with your existing visual in your existing campaign. To give you an example, if some of you heard about the brand Louise Micha, which is French, basically, it's what is happening. We shared the content on Xiaohongshu, which was the last campaign. It's like on the beach with a blonde woman, blue eyes, having her kid, who is blonde also, a blonde girl. And the campaign showed great results, a lot of interaction, a lot of likes. The fact that there was no Chinese models in the campaign wasn't a problem because you're a small brand, you are independent brand, so it's normal at the beginning. But this kind of concern can happen more like on a later stage when you want to really settle on the Chinese market. Then the second step when you build your brand in China is all about instill trust. Okay, for that it's very important because it's something that brands often tend to forget in China. Reason is, they focus on the social media, they focus on the website, and they're like, it's okay, my audience will grow and I don't have to do anything else. Thing is, in China, you have to think about your branding, but you also have to think about your online reputation and what people say about you. Maybe you know that, but there is a trust issue in China. There is a lot of fake brands, fake products, fake international brand, especially for the children's sector industry. There was this problem of fake milk, which called the milk scandal. Basically, brands that were selling milk that was not of good quality and that was fake, and it hurt like a huge problem in China. So especially for the children and kids market, when Chinese moms and Chinese families want to take care of their kids, they really want to be sure that, okay, is this brand reliable? Can I purchase them? Or will it be a problem for my kids? So especially for your industry, it's very something to focus on. And to do that, you have to show, in French, we say like patte blanche, like show you are trustful. And to do so, you have 3 steps: the magazines, the blogs, and the birthday parties. Birthday parties is like a further step, but still interesting to know. For the kids magazine, here are the 2 latest ones on the Chinese market. You have Bébé and you have Milk Enfant. Basically, Milk Enfant, it was an international magazine. Maybe you know them already. And they started in China very recently. But they are the most premium magazine, to show that brand is not only about selling products, but it's also about a universe, a lifestyle that people can engage with and understand. Of course, these magazines, they are the most premium ones, so it's a big budget to be in it. But in the meantime, the moment you're with it, you're in it, like it's kind of the audience is growing, and you can share it on your website, on your social media, to show that people can trust you. Because the moment you have a press release in this kind of article, it means that you can be trusted on the Chinese market. I don't know if Maud is still here, because I think she wanted to share some insights on these magazines, but I don't see her now.
Yeah, I don't see her anymore. I think maybe she can add something at the end. You can keep going and I'll just...
Okay, no problem. Basically, these 2 magazines, you can keep them in mind. But of course, you can find more niche magazine, less expensive if you want to have a press release to show, but in the meantime, want a cost-effective option. Then you have all about the blog. So as I told you before, word of mouth is very important in China. Chinese mom, they spend a lot of time on blogs, on forums. It's in digital culture in China. You have a lot of them. Here I'm giving you only 2 examples, which is Jihu, Q&A forum. Okay, you have 160 million of users. One is very pertinent because in this 160 million people, it's not, let's say, like average people. You really have your target in it, because it's very like well-educated people with a higher income and a strong purchasing power. Okay, so that's basically people who are going on Yahoo. They often look for recommendation. Basically, it's like Quora, if you know Quora in Europe and in the US. It's like where you can ask questions, post article, and the objective is to engage conversation with other people and other users and talk about products, brands that you should know about. And so basically, regarding their purchasing power, these people on Jihu are really likely to find new brands and to invest in the new product they should discover. And in the meantime, you also have Baidu Chiba. So Baidu links to the search engine, Baidu, which is the Chinese Google. Okay, and inside it, you have a search engine, like kind of forum, 300 million monthly average users, which is basically a lot. And it's very much more content oriented. So it's all about the kind of content you will share, the kind of content people will share about you. And you will tell me, okay, I understand they use it, but how my brand is supposed to use that. And that's the key. If I can give you an example, which is not in your industry, but you will kind of understand where I'm going there. Last time they released like an article saying why the name of this new car is coming from. And they released a whole article explaining the origin of the name of the last car. And that's basically what you should do, and what you can do as a brand is not only sharing about your product, it's more about sharing about your lifestyle, about your universe, about an interesting story or anecdote about your brand that you can share with people on this platform that is very interesting for the people and they could react on. And that's definitely very useful, especially on Baidu Chiba. One tip is that if you have a lot of discussion mentioning your name, when people will type your name on Baidu, they will see your Chinese website and the positive comment that you have on Baidu Chiba. But these two things cumulate, they benefit your branding, they benefit your visibility and your image. That's very important. Last thing, you have everything about birthday parties. Again, it's very niche, it's very particular as a strategy because it's all about offline networking. Again, very important word of mouth. So for wealthy Chinese mom, what they often do is that they organize baby parties. And for that, some international brand, they decided to release a kind of universe and like to promote a birthday party. So here you had the birthday party of Baby Dior. Basically, all Chinese wealthy women meeting for a birthday party, and they know that they have this kind of networks with other Chinese moms who are wealthy too, and etc. And you can have good endorsement for your brand because it shows that you are premium, you are international, they can engage with you, and you can directly reach your audience. And then last step for building your brand, it's all about influencers, the KOL, key opinion leaders. So the goal is very to find your audience. Here, that's not official category. It's categories that we build at GMA to understand the kind of influencers that exist for your industry. It's not about the number of followers they have or the number of interaction. It's much more about the orientation of their content and the qualitative interaction they have with their audience. So for that, you have basically three profiles. You have the fashion mama, who is more like a woman that loves fashion brands, who really like to put the same clothes on her as on her child. It's like the mini-me trend, like wearing the same clothes, etc., doing product placement. Then you have the family role model, which is much more about, this very perfect communication where the family is looking happy, looking great together, they are doing amazing activities, and even when they do a product placement, like their life seems all perfect. In the meantime, they really embody Chinese family values. That's very important if you want to insist on the value of the Chinese family to engage with your audience. That could be the kind of right of influencers. And then you have mom next door, which is totally different because she's not like promoting product, show like doing advertising or anything. She's much more like showing pictures of her daily life, showing her going to the supermarket with her kids, going out with her kids, having fun with them. And you can see that the pictures are totally pictures that you could take of your own kids, and they are not like the perfect shade of the family or anything. These are the three kind of influencers you can decide to work with depending on what is your objective, what is your universe, and what is the right kind of audience you want to reach. To give you some example, for the fashion mama, we can talk about Super Renee. She has 66,000 followers on Xiaohongshu, little red book, also called Red. And as you can see, it's very fashion. She's wearing the same clothes as her kid. Her kid is having fun, and she's always doing product placement. People like her a lot in China, and she's much more like this kind of fashion luxury image. Maud, I see that you came back. Maybe you want to share something on this one, because I think you know Super Renee.
Yes, indeed, it's a very famous one. So I think Super Renee started because she also has her own collection for adults. But then a few years ago, she has this really cute, I wouldn't say exactly like our idea about the how to say, the kids who goes to you know, like a private school, you know, but then it's someone that always if you see her pictures, you laugh. So she started posting the daily life, you know, that when she brought the kids to school, and her conversation with the kids. And she made a lot of videos. So people are pretty much involved, you know, like feeling like a part of the family, you know. But these days, you know, to work with the top tier of KOLs are really expensive. Our experience is it's not something affordable for small brands anymore. But the Chinese mom, they evaluate the opinions of word of mouth and KOLs equally important. So our advice is for brands to find some influencers, KOLs, that really match the style of your brand, the aesthetics of your brand, and also the influencers who really appreciate your product. So they will speak, you know, from their bottom of their heart. And also sometimes they will accumulate a kind of a WeChat group from the Xiaohongshu. Then they form a kind of mom group. Then they will speak for you, you know, from there.
Yes, and very interesting point on that. She mentioned that she launched her own brand. That's what a lot of influencers actually did when they start becoming like bloggers, very wide audience. They start launching their own lines, which you should like keep in mind, because sometimes they can talk about your brand, but in the meantime, you're kind of competitor. So that's funny in this way.
Yeah, and some of our brands actually, you know, well, we need to keep an eye for the brands as well. When, you know, at the beginning, maybe we just do some collaboration, but then later when we realize they started their own brands, and so we have to pay, you know, like really attention to see whether this brand is something that very similar, or it's just, you know, mix and match, you know, that good to mix and match together with, you know, your brands.
Totally. Yes, and so just to show you like other kind of influencers, but also as Maud mentioned, especially for clinical, it's very expensive today. So it's not this one that you should go with, but kind of understand the kind of content he shares. So he's like family role model. He has 1.1 million followers on Weibo, and he really has this like perfect family, good-looking family. And every time they do product placement or talking about new brands, it's like very prepared pictures and very prepared communication. So again, as she mentioned, it depends on the aesthetics of your brand. Is he the kind of influencer you want to engage with or not? Then for the mom next door, we wanted to give you the example of Suven, because she's working pretty well, 2.1 million followers on Weibo, basically the double as Kim Nico. But her, she has a variety of content. She prepared video. Here you can see that she has a partnership with Milk Enfant, so the former magazine we talked about. And in the meantime, she's very posting like daily life pictures of her small kids, like showing how she loves them, how they go to school and everything, the kind of activity, outdoor activity they do. It's really like someone you can engage with, and people really trust what they share and when they talk about brand or anything. And then to really like go full around, like full circle with what we mentioned, we wanted to show you the case of Bala Bala, who is the leader in China for kids fashion. Again, it's not similar in terms of size or anything, but the objective is really to understand the consumer journey and how they apply this kind of strategy to engage with your audience and be the leader today in the Chinese market. So basically, here you can see the kind of communication they have. So their motto is same childhood, different style. That's why in their communication campaign, they often mix and match children from different culture, from different countries, on this one similar fashion and clothes. That's what brings people together. To see how big they are, they have more than 4,000 stores in China. On the #1 kid retailer, and they won more than 3 awards, including one that was about the best marketing for a children's fashion brand in China. That recaps everything because basically they win them all. And their universe is very about joyful, colorful, free, having fun. And that is something, that is this kind of universe they transcribe in their store. Okay, so every time they have their own stores, because of course they're big brands, but in the meantime, every time they have a pop-up store, an offline event, or a corner, you can really find again this universe, a lot of yellow and it's kind of colorful. You really have the feeling to enter in the kids world where you can have fun and be yourself and have some joy. So that's really like all their communication that is about. We will dive into their social media. Just so you know, they have a WeChat account, a Weibo account, but they made the choice not to have a Xiaohongshu account, which is very interesting because, you know, if you want to engage fast with your community, Xiaohongshu is the key. When you are a big leader, when you are already super famous, then Weibo and WeChat is the key. And you will see that on WeChat, they use the full ecosystem. Basically, here is their official account. You can see how it looks like. So menu, sub-menu, the kind of articles and content they share. And they also use WeChat channel, which is inside WeChat, and you have all the videos that are posted. So they really engage with a different kind of content. And they even use one of the features in a very interesting way, which is a direct link to WeChat live stream. And you can make an appointment and have a live streaming with the brand. That's very interesting. Here you can see that there was one coming at 7 p.m. And that's the kind of feature that are interesting, you know, because they're very disruptive. They are trying to propose a new thing and really engage in a different way on social media. Here you can see the kind of content they share. What they are really good at is that they do a capsule collection or limited edition with famous anime or famous kids stars, let's say. Here you have, like, in French, it's patrouille. I don't know what is in English or even in Chinese. That's basically this kind of limited editions that they promote, that they propose, and that people really like. Very colorful again. Here you can see they opened a WeChat store within WeChat. Very interesting because it's a very useful feature, because basically you can open your own store and people can directly purchase through WeChat, pay through WeChat, and being delivered, and you have to take care of everything and you receive the order. Their store is very good. What I mean by that, you have this split by age on the different, you have product pages that are very detailed. You have this purchase basket. In the meantime, you can see the nearby boutique, and the customer service is very present through the app. It's very positive, very important store that you can see that they have a big investment in this one. You have a WeChat mini program, which is something that is affordable for brands. It doesn't necessarily need to be something like that. Mini program can be anything. For instance, it could be VR or augmented reality. Like you can do a mini site where you can like record your kids with your phone and see like what the clothes look like on him. Here they decided to do a mini program for like a loyalty program. So basically when you are on it, you can see your loyalty card, how many points you have, where are the nearest boutiques, and if you have special offers thanks to your member card. That's a very good strategy because you're not only a follower, you really are someone who has a very tight connection with the brand. You have your own loyalty card, you have kind of very specific offers, and you can really engage with the brand in a unique way. There you can see their Weibo accounts. So they have 260,000 followers, very big account. Here they decided to propose a totally different kind of content. On WeChat, it's much more what we could call institutional, like very perfect communication, presenting their product. On Weibo, it's more like news and updates, funny content, a lot of videos, fashion show and everything. So, and a lot of influencers endorsements. That's the good thing with Weibo is that you post your own content, but in the meantime, your official account lives thanks to what influencers and key opinion leaders post about your brands. They really benefit from it on Weibo. Here you can see they organized a fashion show. So recently they post a lot of pictures about that. And in the meantime, this is the kind of influencers posts they have. And that's what I was mentioning earlier, is that the good thing is that you have your professional content. So all the campaigns, all your photo shoots, all the communication that you often share on social media. But in the meantime, you can benefit from influencers content and user-generated content. So here it was an influencer who shot her kid wearing balabala clothes. And that's the key, because for free, not in the case when it's influencers, but when it's an user, you can have a lot of content of kids wearing your clothes, like who are Chinese people and everything. So really showing that your style matches the Chinese preference. So that could be very like a good thing for your brand. And here, ending with that, so again, they don't have a Xiaohongshu account, but the good thing for them is that they already benefit from strong influencers and key opinion leaders endorsements. What they did and what I showed you previously is that they really insist on the universe in their store. So very joyful, colorful, and there is a lot of games and everything. So basically every time someone, influencers or user, is entering their store, they take a lot of pictures and they post it on social media. And that drives a lot of attention, that drives that attractivity, and that's what they benefit from on social media. So even when they don't have a new campaign or anything new launching soon, they still benefit from their flagship store, their boutiques that are very colorful and that people always talk about. And maybe Mo, you want to add some insights on Balabala?
So I would like to share. So like Anya said at the beginning, Balabala shows a full user journey, how it should be done within the Chinese internet ecosystem, from different social media and how you close the loop and make the deal on the mini program, which is like the e-shops. So this shows a complete journey, but like we share at the beginning during the SWOT page. So the thing is, the entry cost to have a full practice, the entry cost is very high, to be honest. I would say even a few thousand euros cannot reach the same level of this kind of marketing campaign. I mean, a few thousand euros per month. But what we can do, because most of the designer kids wear, you have to understand you are 2 to 3 times more expensive than bala bala. So you need to have not equal awareness, but certain awareness in the Chinese market. And you know, when at least when people search on Xiaohongshu, they search on Taobao, they search on Weibo or WeChat, they will, you know, find some result. So they understand, okay, I'm buying something premium, and the awareness is justify the price. So I would encourage you, maybe even you can take the full course of this marketing journey, user journey, but start doing something, because you know, the consumers, they cannot access to Instagram nor Facebook nor your Twitter or Pinterest. You know, there's really no way they can really find out who you are. So start doing something, and the market is waiting for some new excitement from the brands, from the design, from even some very avant-garde concept. People are looking for new things, and we encourage you to do something, no matter, you know, through agent, no matter through distributor, no matter collaborate with Playtime Shanghai. You know, do something, then from there we can build up your brand, you know, step by step, and help you to adapt to the Chinese market. Yeah.
Exactly. So now I don't know, Maud, if there are some questions or...
Actually, there is some question in the chat. There is 3 questions from Reshma. The first one is how do Chinese parents make the buying decision for baby clothing? I think like you already talked a lot about it, but if you have to just, you know, conclude with like few words to answer to that question, what it will be. I know you saw Maud as one.
Maud, maybe you want to go ahead first.
So I think, of course, first is they will search, you know, for something, and to the word of mouth, you know, no matter from their friends or from Xiaohongshu, from the social media, they will search for something. So the first step is to create certain touch points of your brands. And then second, people, of course, they value the design and the quality, because apparently they are paying to something, you know, much more expensive. So they are waiting or expecting to the same level of product that matches. Yeah.
Okay. The second question is, how do they feel about sustainable and organic baby clothing?
It's a very good question. That, to be honest, that comes back very often. Currently, we have different brands that contact us because they have this new brand or this new collection releasing sustainable design. And the thing is, to be honest with you, in Europe, in the US, it's pertinent because people are looking for a sustainable lifestyle. In China, it will not be the main motivation to purchase your product. The thing is, they're moving. The sustainable market, sustainable lifestyle is evolving way slower in China than in the West, because basically for a long time, it was not one of their main concerns. I mean, we're talking about a country of 1.4 billion people. If we compare it to France, when we are 66 million people, it's way easier to have a sustainable lifestyle. Here we are talking about a big country, very wide, where cities from first tier to lower tier are totally different. So if you are releasing or if you have this sustainable identity, you should definitely keep it, but you should not focus on it, on the Chinese market. What I would suggest is much more focusing on the quality of your products and how it respects the health or of the baby rather than the environment. So still you can communicate on this, but at the end of the day, that's not what will motivate the purchase.
Yeah, I can also share something about this. I mean, I don't know if everyone remember, because for you it must be a long time ago. I think the first organic revolution in Europe probably start from food and your personal care product. So it always, start from something that you touch directly, and maybe you swallow it. So, and then you move from food to, clothes. And in China, I have to say, when we do the first edition of the Playtime Shanghai, the international exhibitors, they're here, and they asked me where they can go to eat something organic, or is there any organic supermarket? The answer is no. So you can see how far away, because Shanghai is the first tier of city, but definitely this revolution will come, because it's just like fashion. It takes time. It will come to China, but right now it's not something mandatory or something that people really understand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Ines that is asking how much difficult it's for small brand to enter the market. It will be absolutely necessary to have an agent or distributor there, or is there a database of Chinese agents where we should go to find the agents?
I would say that international designer kidswear is something new to the market. So you can see from the summer 2019 that we launched the first edition of Playtime Shanghai in China. Then all the audience, from the buyer, from the consumer, even the Chinese designer brands, they were surprised, that they are like, they found another universe. They didn't know that such a market exists. So agents and distributors are also new. You might find some of them, but most of them, if you ask, they started from year 2019. That's where the Playtime started. We pretty much grow this industry together with the brand, with the buyer, and with the retailers, and along with the influencers and end consumer. So we have seen some very big brands in Europe successful, but they might not be equally successful in China. But we also have witnessed some brands, like small designer brands. Maybe they are not as successful as they are in, their hometown, but then they work super well here in China. So, no one, I mean, there's nothing right or wrong, everyone has the equal opportunity. I think right now the atmosphere in the market is that people are looking for new brands, new design, because for 2 years since the pandemic, no one can travel. Before they can, fly to Paris, fly to Barcelona or London, to do the purchase. Right now, they are stuck here for 2 years. And people are definitely looking for something. And right now, it's your decision, as a brand, to decide whether you want to wait until the pandemic is over and then you come here and feel, or some other brands, who is more aggressive, then they will, take this opportunity like right now. Yeah.
And especially you can see that in two ways when you want to find distributors in China, is that, as Maud said, you can really have the position of, I want to find a distributor, so I go big in China, I participate in trade shows, I meet distributors, I find a showroom in Shanghai that like they have. So really you have this offensive, let's say, strategy where you want to meet distributors or do prospection, because there is no like official listing of all the distributors you can have as a children fashion brand. It's very opaque in the meaning that it's all about the network in China. So we know distributors, etc. So people that you often work with, and etc. And in the meantime, if you want to find new one, you can have another strategy, which is lead generation. That's why we wanted to talk about marketing here today. It's because you can go search for your distributors, but they can go search for you. And that's basically what happens when you work on your marketing. So when you have your Xiaohongshu, your Chinese website, SEO campaign, etc., when distributors see that you have a lot of content or people talking about you in blogs and forums, they're like, oh, I want to sell their brand. I want to contact them and I want to be able to sell their product in my store. That's basically something you can do, is that if you market well your brand in China and you have this brand awareness, this brand attractivity, you can unlock new business opportunities too, because distributors can actually contact you.
Okay, thank you so much. Ines is asking, like regarding the brand protection, what are the things we should be worried about?
I will suggest the first thing is to register your trademark in China, or maybe first to check if your trademark is already stolen. Sorry. So there are several steps. So I mean, most of you must already register your trademark, with the WIPO or the international one. I'm sure you have. But in China, you need to register again with the Chinese government. For the category, I think you'll need, for most of the fashion and kids wear and the shoes, you definitely need a category 25. And for the boutique, if you are thinking about franchise, this kind of business, then you need category 35. So make sure you register, or to check whether you can still register for these two categories, because that's really the first step. We have a discussion with other distributor the other days, that one distributor that they signed a contract with a brand, international brand, and apparently this brand doesn't own their trademark in China. And people think, oh, it's fine because they have the international one, but no. The other day, I will say the thief who has this trademark sued the distributor. So it was very serious. So the distributor has to go to the court and pay a million of RMB. So, it's not just to protect yourself, but also to protect the partner, your distributor, your agent, and even your retailers, because people might not be able to sell your product with your label online, because the person who has the trademark can ask the platform to put down the link. So this is definitely, I would say, the first step for you to do.
Yes, totally agree on that. And if I can just share with you one small story about that, is that that's also an issue we have with a lot of people that contact us, is that they didn't want to register the Chinese trademark until they are ready for the Chinese market. So they waited. And just so you know, having your Chinese trademark is like $500. Like it's not a big investment. And then we're at the point now they didn't register it, so someone stole it from them, And after, you have to pay these Chinese people to get back your Chinese trademark. And trust me, it's not $500. It's about 10,000, 20,000. And it's like months and months of process. So yeah, totally agree with Maud. Like if it's the first step, it's definitely this one. And even if you want to start your marketing or your distribution 2, 6 months or 1 year after, anyway, just do your trademark and it's done and you're protected. And as she said, your partner will be protected too.
Okay, thank you so much to both of you. It was very interesting, and don't forget everyone that if you want to see the replay of this webinar, it will be available on our website very, very, very soon for our World Digital Days. Like I think you all had the information. If you have a few more questions, feel free to send me an email and I will reply you. Of course, Maud or Anais will reply me and then I'm transferring to you and you'll have the answer as soon as possible. Thanks again for coming and have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.